make sure we're getting set on everything. So find your balance points, see if you can pick it off the ground. Cool, if you can, let's get it into that hip. Once you're in the hip, you can readjust. It's about seeing, can you stand up with it? If you can do that, we're gonna readjust, get it in your hip, and you're gonna try and get one hand under it as you throw it off of your hip and up. There we go. That one was a little floppier. I've got this right hand in a good spot. So now I'm looking for that left hand. Once I have it there, give it a little drive with the legs. Hey y'all, welcome back to Movement Link. So today I'm just kind of hiking around my in-laws property and I'm picking up rocks. So if you've done any outdoor classes with me or plan to in the future, eventually you're gonna have your hands on some rocks. And so I just want to go over some tips and techniques and some things I'm looking for when I play around with rocks. So really, first of all, I know how ridiculous this can sound to most people. And from what I have seen, when we take people out of the gym and into different environments, they get really uncomfortable really, really fast, which is really why we need to be taking you out of the gym and into these different environments. Picking up a rock is no different than picking up a barbell, dumbbells, a kettlebell, a sandbag, or any of these other things. But when people look at a rock, they start to get really, really intimidated. It's hard. Sometimes they can be sharp, jagged, and people just instantly picture injury, but that hasn't been our experience with them. So really, the best way to do this is we got to get comfortable. It's just like back squatting for the first time and all these other things we do in the gym. You got to start slow and work your way up. And in the beginning, it's not only learning the techniques, but it's getting comfortable under it. So start with rocks that look really, really tiny, pick them up, build your confidence, work your way up. It's kind of funny, rocks, especially compared to like metal plates, aren't that dense. So what looks like an enormous rock really isn't that heavy in terms of how big it is relative to what we're used to lifting. So what I've got in front of me is just a rock I just found. I just rolled it over here. I haven't tried to pick it up yet, but it looks to be about the size of something that I might be able to get over my head. I'm not sure yet. So I'll just kind of walk you through kind of my thinking and my step process, what rocks I'm looking for, and what, again, I'm being very aware of how ridiculous all of this can sound, but what I'm looking for when I'm looking for a good rock. So the reason I picked this one out and I just rolled it over into this area, one is it's kind of smooth. It's not perfectly smooth, so it's got some grip on it. It's dirty, but it's not super muddy or anything. So it doesn't have these sharp edges. So I'm not really worried about my hands moving around and getting cut up or anything like that. And then it just has kind of a round-ish. You're never gonna get really a perfectly round rock, but it's got kind of a roundish shape. So from there, all I'm gonna do is put it on a reasonably flat area. I'm kind of on the side of a little bit of a hill, so it's gonna be hard for me to find really flat. So I'm just looking for reasonably flat, and then I'm just gonna kind of position it and straddle over it. And really all I'm looking for is my setup is really gonna be a lot like similar to like a sumo deadlift with a kettlebell or something like that. So wide stance, I'm gonna have my hands in. And the first thing I need to do is just find the balance point of this rock. If I grab it in the wrong spot and try and pick it up, it's gonna shift and maybe roll side to side or somewhere on me. So really what I'm gonna do is straddle, get tight so nothing changes here. Belly button drawn in, my feet are as flat. I'm kind of at a downslope here or upslope. But I'm going through my same checklist, nothing changes, and I'm just looking for that balance point. So I'm gonna kind of maybe pick it up, move it around a little bit, and once I'm kind of happy with knowing where my hands need to go to keep it balanced on the way up, then I'm just gonna readjust. And then my first goal, even though my goal is gonna be put this one over my head, I think, we'll see, maybe I won't be able to do it. But my first goal is just gonna be, let's see if I can get it to my hip. This is gonna kind of be our resting position. This is the same things we do in Atlas stones. So my goal off the ground is to deadlift it. And if I can get it moving off the ground, maybe I put it down and I consider it again. So really goal one is, can I lift it off the ground? I know I'm gonna be able to do that with this one. So I get nice and tight, organized, came off the ground. Okay, I'm good there. So now my next move is I'm gonna pick it up off the ground and I'm gonna do almost a clean, but in a regular barbell clean or dumbbell clean, sandbag clean, I'm gonna look for full extension to drive it up and then go get it. With rocks, what we're gonna do is just drive it up and give it a little bit of a pop right in here so I can move my feet in and I'm gonna catch it here as I pull it kind of into me. And that's gonna be a real easy resting position. So let's just see if I can get there. So I'm gonna center back out before I lift, belly button drawn in. I get nice and tight with everything. I'm gonna drive it up and pull it in. So from here, notice how I didn't get that one perfect. I can rearrange. So if I get it here and I'm somewhat comfortable, I'm gonna get my grip on it, belly button drawn in. I'm gonna get it kind of up at my chest level, and I'm gonna see if I can stand up with it. And then drop it. So, okay, so now I'm comfortable enough with this particular rock where I know it's light enough for me to get it up into these levels. So now I'm gonna go from that hip, I'm gonna get it more in the hip, and just like we would in a snatch, I'm gonna drive it off of my hip and see if I can get it up here, anywhere near my shoulder. Really, my main goal is to get one hand under, and so then I can work, kind of bounce it around as I get my other hand under to see if I can do a press up over my head. If I can get both hands at the same time from my hip, that's what I'm gonna try and do. We'll just kind of see what happens here. Hopefully I don't fall down this hill, we'll see. All right, so getting it to the hip first, then we're gonna readjust. I'm gonna put it in my hip crease and drive it up. I'm gonna try and get my right hand under it. There we go. With my right hand under, I'm gonna try and find a balance point and then get my left one too. From there, I feel pretty solid here. So now I'm just gonna do a push press where I drive with my legs and then press it up overhead, drop it, get out of the way in case it rolls back on you. So really it's all about finding those balance points and starting with something small where you can play around with these techniques and go. I've messed around with this a lot. So what I've learned is no matter how uncomfortable or tired I'm getting here, don't attempt to put it over your head until you're pretty confident you have it balanced. What I've also found is when I find this one ended up being pretty light, even though it looks kind of big, it's kind of light. So I'm gonna go look for a heavier rock. But what I find is a lot of times when I get that heavy rock, it's really just being uncomfortable with it. And it takes me a while to get it here. Once I get it here, it takes me a while to get my hands in it, like tries, not like a long time, like multiple tries. And then it might take me multiple tries as I go up and I'm not quite balanced and I kind of get out of the way. So one more time, it's make sure we're getting set on everything. So find your balance points, see if you can pick it off the ground. Cool, if you can, let's get it into that hip. Once you're in the hip, you can readjust. It's about seeing, can you stand up with it? If you can do that, we're gonna readjust, get it in your hip, and you're gonna try and get one hand under it as you throw it off of your hip and up. There we go. That one was a little sloppier, but I've got this right hand in a good spot. So now I'm looking for that left hand. Once I have it there, give it a little drive with the legs, throw it up. All right, you can practice this if you've got a sandbag. Especially if you have a bag like we use with those Go-Rag bags, you can practice this with the filler bag inside, just working on that technique, or practice picking up the sandbag with no handles. Really good ways to practice this. A lot of gyms, we've got them. Atlas stones are in the gym. A lot of ways we can practice this, but really fun to be able to get out there. Just go search for a rock. See if you can pick it up. Start small, work your way up. I'm gonna go see if I can find a bigger one out here. Talk to y'all soon.